Just don't expect a lot of conversation. He's in full Klingon mode. Honorable, strong, and close-minded.
Hello, welcome to Star Trek Sodium. I have some amazing facts that I've discovered about the popular Star Trek character, Commander Worf. Now, the original plan for Worf was for him to have been a Klingon from the Klingon homeworld's southern continent, where they didn't have ridges on their forehead, but had ridges on their neck. After trying the makeup on a few times, Gene Roddenberry wasn't happy with the look on Worf, and he thought it might confuse viewers, so he decided to go with the singular design idea of all Klingons having the forehead ridges. I'm glad he did. Eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed that Klingon characters in Star Trek have animalistic teeth, achieved by wearing false prosthetic teeth in their mouth. This look made their look real because the effects team would use discarded teeth from a local Hollywood dentist's surgery and use those real teeth, reshaping them and covering them with brown makeup before attaching them to the actor's real teeth. The problem with these being real teeth, though, was that Worf actor Michael Dorn found that they would be sharp and often cut his teeth and gums without warning, and would sometimes often come loose if not securely glued into his mouth. In the soapy Deep Space Nine episode Looking for Parmok in All the Wrong Places from Season 5, we see Worf meet Quark's Klingon ex-wife Grilka for the very first time. He tries to get her attention romantically, but fails, and ends up at the end of the episode with Commander Dax. But did you know, in an early script for this episode though, Worf does indeed win the favour of Grilka, and after a few nights with her, discovers that she is actually his cousin, and so he has to end the relationship, and she returns to the Klingon homeworld. That isn't the story that they went with though, unfortunately. That would have been quite interesting.
Sir, I protest. I am not a merry man.
On the contrary, Lieutenant Worf. Your clothing identifies you with the character of Will Scarlet.
If you're watching Star Trek The Next Generation, Series 1, you will notice Worf's early design for his face is a little bit different than in the later seasons. In particular, his beard is particularly small and not really of note. In Season 2 though, Michael Dorn had noticed that William Riker's newly minted beard had gained positive attention, so he approached Rick Berman with the idea of himself having a larger, more elaborate beard on his face, an idea which Rick applauded. Incapable of growing a beard himself, Rick was always happy for those around him to do it instead. Worf's Star Trek appearances hold some startling statistics. We all know, probably, that Michael Dorn has the most appearances in Star Trek. He's in the most episodes, for example, and a lot of the films. He has most family members explored in Star Trek. He has a son, he has a wife, he has human parents, he has lots of different people in his family, and we see them all in Star Trek. He has the most fight scenes in Star Trek, but a startling fact about Worf is that if you include him alongside all of the regular Voyager actors, Michael Dorn has the least amount of appearances in Star Trek Voyager. When it came to money, most Star Trek The Next Generation actors had negotiated better payment rates per episode, either themselves or through their agent or manager, gaining them thousands per episode. But the Worf character's actor did not do this. He was allegedly getting only $200 per episode for the first 3 seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation. It was only the minimum wage rising which gained him more money. Michael Dorn was often missing from the set, and it was possibly quite common for him to have wandered off to some corner to read a book. Rick Berman was at the end of his rope with Dorn, having to shout for him at the top of his crusade voice at the beginning of each scene to get Dorn back to the stage and to put his damn book down. Believe it or not, he was even the founder of the Michael Dorn Book Club. In 1991, There was the poorly documented hold-up at a gas station in LA, whereby a masked man with a gun demanded all of the money from the cash register, just as the lady at the register was about to hand over hundreds of dollars to the bandit. The Worf actor lashed out from behind the bandit with Worf's sash, knocking the bandit over. He possibly whipped the bandit a couple more times while he was on the ground, incapacitating him while they awaited the police to turn up. It just goes to show what a heroic lobster the Worf actor could really be. The genesis of the Worf character's name came from one of Gene Roddenberry's neighbours when he was a child in the 1920s. He would reportedly tell the story of when his parents moved him to a new home in southern Alabama. His next-door neighbour was an escapee from Russia called Moog Worf Roshenko, although some people claim this was a simple coincidence, such as Rick Berman and Rudy Chips. We all know that Worf appears in many Star Trek movies, especially Star Trek 6, 7, 8, 9, and that Nemesis one. But rumour has it, a rumour that just won't go away, is that Michael Dorn is even in Star Trek 5, because Star Trek 5 was being filmed at the same time in the same building as Star Trek Next Generation in 1988. Some of the production crew had said that they remember using Michael Dorn because one of the actors in Star Trek 5 had a bad leg. Watching Star Trek 5 closely, maybe he's one of Spock's brother's henchmen, or maybe one of those dusty settlers at the start of the film. If you have any news on this, please comment below using some words. A little known fact about Michael Dorn is that he refused to share a taxi home from filming of Star Trek with his cousin Jonathan Frakes, as Frakes had a deep fear of taxis due to an incident some years earlier, and getting into a taxi now could set him off. The details of the incident are sketchy at best, but it involved a taxi driver with extremely long arms and a pointy nose. Thanks for checking out my very interesting facts about the Worf character from Star Trek. He really is a popular character who's endured the years. Please hit that subscribe button unless you already have, in which case don't, but if you don't, that's okay. Thanks very much for checking out my facts, and I'll see you in the future hopefully. Ta-ta!